Or you'll like this one. People who ignore social distancing rules may have psychopathic personality traits. Study finds. Pentagon officials say. Of course. If you don't do what the herd is doing, you're a bad person. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You have to do. Lockstep, everyone. And there's a bunch of articles on this. And thanks to Hell on Wheels, by the way. Check this out. So you got this one here. Psychopathic traits linked to non-compliance with social distancing guidelines amid the coronavirus pandemic. This woman, though, she's all on board. She's like, I do my social distancing every day. I wear a mask. I wear a mask when I drive my car. I wear a mask when I'm in my home. When I'm baking dinner, I wear a mask in the shower. I've got a mask for the shower. I mean, people. There's more too. There's the New York Post here. You're talking about really awful brands of toilet paper. Ignoring social distancing rules might mean you're a psycho. Yeah, and there's your they got the whole chart up here. They got it all going. Look at this coronavirus. Given the latest deaths per million statistics, of course, the whole thing. Keep it going, guys. And what else have we got here? We've got the Daily Fail, not to be outdone. They got their dummy book up there. Did you catch that before they changed it? Because this is the internet for dummies, basically. But people with psychopathic personality traits have a disproportionately large impact on COVID-19 pandemic because they failed to protect themselves and others, studies claim. Pentagon officials say. Study of looked at. Look at this. Study of looked at. Even. No editing whatsoever here. Study of looked at influence of personality on adherence to health guidelines. Quizzed more than 500 Americans on if they were sticking to social distancing. Are you doing what the tally says? Found people with psychopathic personality traits are likely to flaunt the rules. A rebel scum. Academic says this minority is having disproportionate impact on the pandemic by failing to protect themselves and the others. Forget about all those Black Lives Matter and Antifa people that were like sweating and bleeding and climbing all over each other for the past couple of weeks all across America, burning half the freaking country down. Forget about them, right? It's the psychos out there, the people that don't listen to their freaking beast media. There you go. You don't listen to the beast media, you're a psycho. It's just nuts. At least it's diverse up here. They got a smiling black guy there. Anyways. So yeah, maybe we'll look at this one here. And you got this guy. Is he with his mom here? You see, he's got his mask. He's like,
Mom, I'm not gonna go out unless the mask match my shirt, okay? I need a special mask that's gonna it's gotta match my shirt. Otherwise, people are gonna make fun of me.
And the mother's like, I just want to have a cougar mask. She's doing the whole cougar routine here. he's got his arms crossed here too. Oh, it's too funny. Anyways, people wearing sanitary masks. This is in where? Via Condotti. That's in Italy, I guess. And yeah, if reports of people licking toilet seats. Yeah, reports of people guys licking toilet seats. And you're worried about coronavirus? You don't know where that tongue's been. All right, so if reports of people licking toilet seats and intentionally spitting on others during the coronavirus pandemic left you astounded, did we shock you enough with our bullcrap? Did our crisis actors remember the guy on the New York subway? It was like in the early days of the whole thing, before the whole mask thing came in and before all the phony deaths and all that crap. Right, they had the guy, and he had a mask on, and somehow somebody just happened to be filming him. I don't know, right? And just, sure, I'm just going to film that guy that's standing there on the subway holding the rail. Oh, look, he's pulling down his mask. Oh, look, he just stuck his finger down his throat or in his mouth, and now he is tracing that finger with all that saliva all the way down the post. Oh, this is just shocking. Oh, my God. I can't believe somebody did that. Of course, millions and millions of views and reactions later from all the sheeple who are so dumb they can never think for a moment that they're being had, of course. And then that's why, because you have psychos like that guy. See, those are the types of people that don't do what their telly tells them. So the study, a peer-reviewed preprint that will soon be published in the Journal of Social Psychology and Personality Science. Imagine that. It's like gender studies. Personality.
I'm getting a degree in personality science. I'm a real doctor.
Personality science. Imagine the people that get degrees and PhDs in imagine what their personalities are like, right? Like, imagine these people. They probably have the worst personalities. Probably like, I'll get this PhD and then I'll finally have a personality. But anyways, so they asked 502 people to answer questions online about how often they follow the rules, follow the coronavirus pandemic health guidelines, if they plan to follow the guidelines going forward, and what they do if they were diagnosed with COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel. You ever read those novels? They're like New York Times bestsellers. You're like, hey Jeff, yeah, I want to read that novel. You got to go into chapters, you know, the Heather Reisman. Go in there and go to the fiction section. Don't go to the non-fiction. You go to the you'll see it's there for sure. Anyways, researchers, Pentagon officials say, the researchers here also asked personality-related questions to determine whether or where survey participants fell on scales for conscientiousness, cooperation, cooperativeness, neuroticism, tendency to take risks, meanness. How mean are they? How mean on a scale of 10 are you? And lack of restraint. If participants answered questions in a manner that suggested that they had low levels of neuroticism, tendency to take risks, meanness, and a lack of, they got the meanness. This person's mean. This person thinks differently. You know, I mean, like meanness. But the meanness scale. Lack of restraint. There you go. You have no restraint. You're upset. The government destroyed your business, destroyed all your jobs, took all your money. But now you have a lack of restraint. You're upset. You show no restraint. They were, of course, more likely to follow social distancing guidelines. But if they scored high in these traits, so if they scored low, means they were more likely, they're more likely to be lockstep. But if they scored high in these traits, they were less likely to follow the guidelines. Psychopath. Study author Pavel Blagov here. Pavel Blagov, interesting name, said these traits are also common psychopathic traits. I knew that these traits from the so-called dark triad, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, as well as the traits subsumed within psychopathy, are linked to health risk behavior and health problems. Get the Bill Gates vaccine. Get those vaccines that change, you know, the ones that change the ones you want to give us all, you know, vaccines that change our DNA sort of thing. The fun vax. So, I mean, it is not that far, though. I mean, I've been showing how for years this is how they're moving. Like, they really want to make everybody into a drooling retard. Like, no joke. They want nobody ever to question anything again. They want people just to cheer, Beyonce! You know? I obey! Obey good! Obey good! Obey good! I gotta obey! I do what I say! Oh man, it's exactly what they want. I mean, they're dumbing down the population. I mean, look at look at all of the people out there protesting. It's just like the Extinction Rebellion and the what are they called? The birth strikers, the Gretatards, BLM. Oh, anyways, as well as the traits subsumed within psychopathy are linked to risk behavior. I read that part. Indeed, the study has suggested his study suggested a small correlation between psychopathic traits and disregard for pandemic public policies does exist. Who would have thunk it? People who admit it, ignoring health guidelines. There she is. I wear my face mask on my bike. I was just thinking of the Corey Hart song there with Media Bear. I mean, you got it. The bike mask tards. I don't know what you can call them. We gotta have a name for each type, though, right? But I mean, like, how retarded must you be to ride your bike with a mask on? I mean, you have to be a drooling F-tard. But there you go. She's all dressed in red too. Blagov, and you know the irony too is that she doesn't have a helmet on. And I never wear a helmet when I bike, right? But it is like technically against the law in most places these days, cause you know the New World Order. But she's probably like 100 times more likely to be hit by a cement truck than she is to get sick by Kobe. Watch her. She's biking with her mask, and her mask, you know, she starts to cough and it gets in her eyes, and then she hits a manhole and she dies. It's like an open manhole or something, right? It's like, good thing you had the mask on. Yeah, so Jagoff here, said the majority of survey participants said they followed the coronavirus health guidelines. Majority were retards. But those who didn't follow guidelines answered the survey questions in a manner that suggested they knowingly and purposefully ignored the safety advice. You see, it's all an appeal to authority. See, like the whole, like the degrees, the sciences are all absolute baloney. These personality freaking, what were they called again? Personality sciences. I mean, it's just the stupidest stuff ever. Where do you think it's coming from? Of course it's coming from the NWO. You know it. The same people that bring you vulnerability as strength, right? Now they're going to say non-compliance is psychopathy. See? Non-compliance is psychopathy. There you go. Just like that. If you don't do what your television says, if you don't do what the New World Order says, you are a psycho. And guess what they'll do? They'll diagnose you as that, and then boom, you know, you're gonna FEMA camp or whatever, right? Padded cell. Anyways, so for example, participants who scored high on traits. Where was I here? Where did I go? Yes. Who scored high on traits like meanness and a lack of restraint also said they didn't follow social distancing and hygiene practices like hand washing. That's it. Blagoff says these findings are concerning from a public health perspective. One potential implication from the research is that there may be a minority of people with particularly personality styles on the narcissism and psychopathy spectrum. How rich is that too? When you think about Instagram and Twitter, which are narcissism 101 platforms, and that most people that are in the lockstep, whether they're in the mass tards or the LGBTQXYZ tards, right, or the extinction, they're all the same anyways, right? And they're the biggest narcissists that exist on the planet, without a doubt. Without any doubt whatsoever. And here we are. No, it's the people that don't comply. So that have a disproportionate impact on the pandemic by failing to protect themselves. The whole narrative, of course, this is the problem. The problem is there's not enough people that do exactly what we say. So the people that don't do what we say are a threat to the rest of the people. Therefore, we're going to have to do something about these people. That's the whole narrative. So it's very dark. Of course, the study has had some limitations. The sample only contained U.S. adults, so the findings don't represent the entire population's beliefs or underlying psychology about pandemic safety practices. The self-report nature of the survey could have also skewed results, though Blagoff said it was conducted in March when the pandemic was just ramping up and may have therefore eliminated some social biases surrounding the safety behaviors. Additionally, Blagoff said his study only showed a small correlation between personality traits and pandemic-related behaviors, and it is likely people who don't have psychopathic traits are... how magnanimous of us. It is possible. You could just see Blagoff there. Well, it's possible. It's possible that some people that aren't following the guidelines are not true total psychopaths, but right? So he gave us that. The results don't mean the viral disease is spread only by irresponsible or inconsiderate people. They have to give themselves a way out, of course. But yeah, there you go. So this narrative is something to pay attention to, just like the cougar moms with the fashionable man-childs here with their, what has he got? He's got a bunch of crosses.
He's got rainbow crosses, guys. Jesus loves gays. Jesus loves gays.
There you go. I mean, it's so bizarre. Look at this. Look what's going on. Look what they've done to people. You've got a really stupid person, but you got a smartphone. That's what explains so much about what's going on, right? So much of what's going on is this insanity, this mind control, right? The way that they can pull this type of stuff off is just insane, right? And look at how it all gets spun now, and pay very close attention to this narrative, because we've talked about this for a very long time, where they're trying to paint conspiracy theorists as mentally deranged people, dangerous people, domestic terrorists, all these other things, and this is feeding into it, right? You have Trump playing the role of that too as well. Trump is involved in conspiracies. He even questioned the old guy, the old geezer that fell over when they pushed him. I don't know where that was, but we covered it the other night. We showed it on the stream. And he said, it might be set up. So now all the left media is going after him, saying, oh, Trump, another conspiracy theory from Trump. But you can see how they set up the narrative, just like they do for white supremacy, right? People that don't do the lockstep and fall in line with Black Lives Matter. Like all the black celebrities that were saying that people, silence is violence, for instance. Like if you don't do it, then you are actually contributing to violence. And this is like, we're in 1984 full on pretty much when it comes to that, right? Like when you see 1984 and the people cheering in the theater, for instance, right? That they're trying to cheer louder than the person next to them, a la North Korea sort of thing, when, you know, Kim Jong, whoever goes down the street and they all have to cheer louder than their neighbors because they might be spotted by the thought police or something like that. So in the movie and in the book 1984, you see the people that are trying to cheer louder than everyone else, and this is the exact lockstep that they have with most people, where you go to the mall and, you know, if you're not wearing the mask, you're the bad person, and everybody has been trained and programmed into looking at you as the problem. You're the bad person. And they have been, I mean, you could say, you could say, well, maybe it's not entirely their fault. I mean, yes, it is their fault that they're morons. They refuse to use their brain, right? They refuse to think for themselves, but they have been heavily programmed into this mindset, and it shows you the extreme danger of the situation that many of us are in, where you could just be shouted down, or you can be mobbed. Right, we're showing a lot of the mobbing that's been happening. Dan Dix the other day got mobbed, right, in downtown Vancouver, because somebody made the accusation, of course, that he was a white supremacist. So everybody started, and then people started pelling things at him, right, and the police had to get him out, and they arrested him and all that. But there's also been all these other mobs that have attacked people. You know, the guy at the Dallas with the Bowie knife, and we had another black guy just the other day that was almost beaten to death by a mob. I don't know if he died or what, but like mob mentality is taking over. The people are being programmed into this mob mentality. In fact, in many ways, you can say that without the heavy sort of, or that maybe in a way that the heavy scamdemic sort of mob mentality opened the door for the mob mentality, or helped pave the way for the mob mentality of the George Floyd protest right across the world. That you were already getting people to get in that lockstep where like everyone has to do what we tell you to do, right? Where everyone has to social distance, everyone has to wear a mask, everyone has to dance through hoops of fire to get in the grocery store, everyone has to want the vaccine, everyone has to get tested. All that type of mentality, and then the contact tracing and everything else that goes with it. And then you have the orchestrated chaos of the George Floyd whole thing, right? And then you have all this mind control of masses, and all the celebrities that are saying, and all the social media influencers and a lot of people in the media saying that if you don't go out and you don't partake, or if you're white and you're not, you know, doing something. It's like they just a big story that's going around about some guy that owns this big fitness club, and he basically told his employees, no, we're not going to, do any sort of commemoration for George Floyd. And then he's resigned or something like that, according to the Disney media, the Beast media sort of thing. So it's like setting the example that you have to do what everyone else is doing. And if you don't, and you don't cheer as loud as everyone else, you're a bad person. And then you're going to be singled out. You're going to be ostracized and eventually in a FEMA camp or re-education or whatever like that, right? That's where it's all going. I mean, we can all see it clear as day. You can see it with stories like this, right? Psychopathic traits linked to non-compliance, where they just won't tolerate anybody from having any sort of alternative opinion on anything. You'll have the left and right. They'll eventually take away the right from you, and you'll just have the left sort of mentality and just be a dumbed down, drooling F-tard, right? Who, I don't know what you're doing. Cycling for credits and porn credits in your home or something. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they're going to give everyone their universal wage sort of thing, and they're just going to pay people to do mindless tasks, play video games, or jerk off to tranny porn or whatever it is, right? Like, this new world order is so dark and it's happening so rapidly. And the most disturbing, well, amongst the most, it's not even the most disturbing, but amongst the more disturbing elements is this lockstep of the masses and seeing. I mean, in many ways, they may not have anticipated that people would have fallen in line as quickly as they have for the bulk of the population, right? But they really have succeeded. And, despite all the evidence in the world to expose exactly what they're up to, the average sheeple refuses to think for themselves, refuses to question their media, refuses to question any authority, any authoritative. It's unbelievable. Anyways, let me know what you think about this. And what do you think about the hypocrisy of how they're, and what else have you seen? Like, what else have you seen in terms of, like, wherever you are, say you're in Australia or Norway or Sweden or Canada or, United States, wherever you might be, Latin America, right? Is there similar types of pushes? Like, how are they making everybody go into their lockstep? What are the threats that you're seeing? Because a lot of times they try different things in different areas, right? Where they try different experiments to see what works more effectively. They're testing us, and they are using AI for sure, and it's very sophisticated how all this is going out. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Much love. Come and support me if you can. Patreon links in the description. It really means a lot, and I'm working my tush off, so I hope you like the videos. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and make sure you're subbed to the other channels, of course, and leave your comments below. I really look forward to reading them. What do you think about this? And how far do you think? Where do you think this goes? Like, more legislation? Because, of course, they've been building the mental illness thing up for like crazy. So are they going to just start diagnosing people via their telemedicine or whatever, or via their social media, with the social media scores, of course, and the social media scores that will, encourage people to be much more in the lockstep. So that's probably a lot of where it's going. So anyways, you guys are awesome. Talk to you later. Take it easy.